Tom, good afternoon, and thank you so much for bringing me to your favourite bar, which is the Queen's Head in London.
That's right, yeah.
It looks like a very sedate, lovely bar, the outskirts of London, but you're going to tell us something different.
Right. Well, I suppose the Queen's Head for me, it's got a lot of fond memories there. I It was the first place I actually went with my wife. She was living nearby at the time, and when we first met, we'd go there most weeks, maybe a few times a week if we were feeling flush. But yeah, look, it's a nice place, nice food, nice beer.
When I was doing the research on trying to get a background picture, there seemed to be an awful lot more than what we're seeing here. There was a great outdoor bar, and there seemed to be another area that had. So it's one of those places that you could probably go to 3 or 4 times and have 3 or 4 different experiences. Is that the sort of vibe of the place? It's quite big. It looked quite big.
Yeah, that's it. It looks quite unassuming from the outside, but as you go through, there's all different kind of nooks and crannies, and then you get to the outside at the back, and there's a huge beer garden at the back. So you have the Saturdays there in the sunshine, and yeah, the kind of the winter evenings in front of the fire. So it sort of has everything there.
And I don't know if we can see them, but one of the photographs had the big, long, old-fashioned ale. Do you remember those things they used to
Yeah,
put? They're
yeah,
possibly
yeah.
just there for show, but they're nearly that tall. And the lads that used to be the barmen had to be nearly heavyweight boxers to pull it. But it looks like a good spot. It looks like a place that has been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. So why wouldn't you like it?
Exactly.
So anyway, so we're there. And the place is yours, the floor is yours, and you've stepped up on a seat and you're going to regale the crowd with a famous quote. What is it?
Fair. Look, and I'm not sure who it was that actually said it, but like you get out what you put in, and I suppose you can you can put that on in all elements of your life. So every part of your life, you can look at that, whether it's kind of work, relationships, fitness, whatever you're looking at. If you put in the effort, you're going to get the rewards out. And if you're focus on effort the whole time, everything's going to work out.
Isn't it so true that sometimes it can come down to such simple things? And yet, even in school, we learn all these sonnets and plays, and we're meant to find these nuggets of wisdom inside it. And you spend your life trying to work it out that you give up on it. Whereas, sometimes it's as simple as what you say. You get out what you put in, usually, but you still need to have a wiggle. And
Yeah,
I think that's where we have to allow ourselves to realize that sometimes, no matter how hard you try, it doesn't work. No matter how many times you try and chat up that girl at the bar, you're just not her type. So within reason, I think you're spot on. And obviously, being where you are in your career now, mid stages, entrepreneur, um, you're obviously starting to see some experience based examples of that, which is wonderful, isn't it?
yeah.
When you look at sort of when you're younger in your career, it's more what other people are telling you should do or what they have done. Whereas now what you're doing is you sort of jumped off the ledge a bit without a parachute, but the parachute that you do have or the landing area you have is experience.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's the best part of what you're doing at the moment? You find yourself.
Look, the best part of what we're doing at the moment is the fact that it's all kind of that it is a new company. We're able to we're able to react very quickly to our clients' needs and change, and it's kind of very exciting to be able to change and move and react to exactly what our clients want and when they want. So it's an exciting time at a kind of early stage of a business.
And you know what's really interesting? And it's wonderful to see such youth coming into the digital infrastructure space because quite a few people, well, most people of a certain age did loads of other things and then came into digital infrastructure. Whereas we're starting now to see young talent like yourselves who were nearly born in the industry, don't know a time that data center or digital infrastructure wasn't a thing. So aren't in awe of, well, okay, well, that's the way we used to do it. Now let's do it differently.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
do it. You know, and that's what I think that companies like yourself and people like yourself are about, is that you're so used to change
That's it.
that it's sort of, well, if we're not changing, we're probably staying put. And if we're staying put, we're being passed over or gone by. So is that something that you notice with some of the more legacy groups and teams and companies you're working with, is that they're maybe a little less speedy with the mindset of change?
Yeah, and I think look, I think in any big organization, change is obviously something that's difficult because you've got 10 layers of management, you've got to get approvals. People don't want to put their head above the parapet. People don't, if someone decides to change something, and it doesn't work out, they don't want to look like they've made that decision. Whereas where we are, we can change, yeah, change within an hour if necessary, because we've got all the people there to make the decisions, and we can kind of react, like I was saying.
Yeah, I'm a Gemini, so I used to have one of my personalities talk to the other personality to make the change, and that was it, right? So dead or alive, right? Bar, the door bursts open there behind my head, and there's somebody there, dead or alive, and he's ginging for a pint. Who would you love it to be to welcome over?
So I think it would be my granddad, because and dead. So but so he was in the mechanical electrical industry. He was a mechanical engineer, and he wouldn't have seen where I've gone in my career. So it would be good to talk about that, and to talk about sort of how I came up here and all those different changes through the years.
And was he around in your lifetime? Would
Yeah, 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 definitely.
Yeah.
So he was around up until my sort of early 20s. So it was so I was still working as an electrician then, and still on site, and still I think I just kind of maybe moved into the office to look at start doing my estimating years. But yeah, it's
And would you suggest that, that saying, we become what we see? I don't know what your dad does or your mum does, but would he been the guy you said looks interesting?
uh, to I think, to be honest, I wouldn't have really known what he was doing at the time, because he would have been retired. I would have been young. I wouldn't have really taken it in. So it was quite it was sort of just the way it worked out. It was kind of I just find that quite interesting.
I guess it's like a lot of these things. If you brought him into a mechanical electrical office now and you showed him digital twins and all these other sophisticated, he basically would say, "Oh yeah, we used to do it with this."
Well, he used to work in the drawing office, so he was doing all the drawings by hand. So I think it would be a very, very different environment now.
Yeah, but it's like back in the day when we used to show a spreadsheet to people who were used to doing journals. Most of them used to say, "So I can make a mistake and I don't have to do the whole thing again."
Yeah, yeah,
So, we look back in rose tinted glasses at those times and say, "Oh, they were so creative and artistic and they did it." But you know what? They made a mistake. They had to go back and start again.
yeah, yeah,
And in the same way as the JCB helped a lot of people out of trenches who were there for 8 hours a day, who didn't want to be digging a hole.
yeah,
Yeah, we often can look and say these are tools. And I often think, anyway, myself, is good people want more tools to allow them to stop doing the drudgery and doing more of the good stuff.
yeah, yeah.
So,
That's exactly it. Yeah,
so you'd be amazed at these forefathers. They may look back themselves, oh, it was great and all the rest, but God, it was a lot of drudgery. So how do you keep productive? You're in the middle of sort of that sort of scale up stage, you're a young man, how do you keep productive and energized? Because you're an energized guy.
Look, I mean, it can be very difficult, especially with two young children at home as well. I've two children, 3 and 2, so
Real
they're
steady.
in the trenches with that at the moment as well. So I think to stay motivated, I think it is very important for me anyway to make sure I try and stay active. So I try and get up as early as I can to do some form of exercise before I go in every day. And I think that if I don't do that, I kind of feel a bit lethargic through the day. But I need to get up and I need to get the heart rate going in the morning, and I have to do that before I leave the house.
And what is
Otherwise,
that? Is that on a treadmill or on weights or what's the
so I just
routine?
do some sort of mixed cardio for 20 minutes and just with some weights in the house and just if failing that I'd go swimming. I prefer to go swimming, but if I haven't got time for that, I would do that in the house.
You wouldn't, you're not one of these loonies that go down to the sea, are you? Or do you go to
No, I'm not mental. No, no. I would be interested in it, but I don't know. It just it seems a bit much for me.
But you know, when you talk to people who do that, and it's all ages, so I live quite close to Bray and Greystones, is that after a while, it's not about the water, it's about the camaraderie of the people you're doing it with.
Yeah, that's I've heard that. So it's still very cold though.
Oh, it's very, very, very cold. And there's no getting around, it's very cold in the Irish Sea, no matter when you go in.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's been short and sharp, Tom. We've learned a bit about you. And obviously, if you used to frequent this pub with your wife when you were feeling flush, and you now have 2 children, it obviously worked out.
Yeah, yeah. That's it.
Fantastic. Thanks for your time. Best of luck with your scale up company, and thank you for joining Host in Ireland.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Very welcome. Have a great day.
Thank you.